The Denver Broncos get even better free agent news with the NFL salary cap going up. We've got to refute a claim that says we might be overhyping the NFL salary cap bumping. Maybe it's not as big of an advantage as we talked about yesterday, but it got even better than when we shared yesterday. The Broncos might be getting a new alternative uniform. We got to break that down. We got NFL draft news, that and way more in this video. If you're new to the channel, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan named Ben, and it helps me in the YouTube algorithm out a ton if you like the Broncos, if you would like and subscribe. So Andrew Mason is absolutely one of my all-time Denver Broncos favorite beat reporters. I've followed him on Twitter and listened to him on pretty much every radio station he's ever been on. And I love that I get to disagree with Andrew Mason, and I think I'm actually right on this. Let me know in the comments. So he came out here and said that everybody who thinks that this is great for the Broncos is overhyping it because it's an increase for every other team in the NFL too. I'll respect Andrew Mason, but I think that is an absolutely horrible take. A couple years ago during COVID, when we all got the stimulus checks, you weren't like, oh, it's not really actually $2,000 a month because everyone else gets $2,000 a month too. Like, it was a great thing, even though it went out to every single person. Like, I still could use it to get good stuff. And it becomes an even better thing when you get a stimulus check and your groceries are already paid for and you get to go buy a brand new TV. And that was the argument that I think we have to make as Denver Broncos fans, that we have all of our ducks in a row. We already have our franchise quarterback locked down on this contract. We already have a left tackle that we don't have to buy. We already have great edge rushers that we don't have to pay for. And so that free agent money can be used on free agents that don't cost quite as much. So I think this is absolutely phenomenal news for us, and I think Andrew Mason is off base on that. But let me know if you think it is a little bit overhyped. Also, a great take here on Twitter from Nick Kendall, who talks about salary cap. It's not important just to look at this year, but it's important to look at the following years as well. And that's where you look at a crazy distinct advantage for the Denver Broncos, especially with our ownership group. Because yes, this year we are still top half of the league in how much salary cap space we have, but in these subsequent years, that's where you see us having crazy amounts of money to make crazy moves. And that can start this year because, as we talked about yesterday, you can front load that if you have a cash-rich owner, which you're looking at the most cash-rich owner in the entire NFL. You can front load it with as much money as you would like to in a signing bonus, which then gets spread out over the life of the contract. And so like we talked about yesterday, you could have a $50 million player who ends up only counting $5 million against your cap, depending on how you structure that signing bonus. And then obviously the cap space is lesser in these years, but that's where the Broncos, you're talking about us being in the top half this year, but you're talking about us being in the top 10 and then the top 5 when it comes to salary space from here on. So just absolutely phenomenal news on there. Next thing about the NFL draft, I think one of the players that we're all going to be keeping our eyes on at the NFL Combine is Ashton Jeanty. The difference that he could make to this Broncos offense could be electric. Like, he is an electric running back. He is a Jahmyr Gibbs type difference maker that I think it warrants picking at the 20th pick in the draft. But now we are hearing rumors that not only do the Raiders want him at 6 perhaps, that the Chicago Bears also might want him at 10, and then the Dallas Cowboys want him at 12. But if he passes all of those dudes, then there's a chance that we could get him. So he's going to be the player that I'm keeping my eye on the most at the NFL Combine. Let me know, who are you keeping your eye on the most at the NFL Combine? And speaking of NFL Combine, one of my goals this year is I want to grow the channel big enough that I can go travel to things like the draft and the Combine and ask Ashton Jeanty, what is it going to be like when you're wearing the real orange and blue? But in order to do that, I actually want to find companies out there that I actually use that provide value to you so that I can grow this channel to keep adding more and more value. And to that end, I'm super pumped to talk to you about today's sponsor. I am diversifying with today's trusted sponsor, Lear Capital. When it comes to your hard-earned money, especially with all of the economic uncertainty, we have record inflation, rising U.S. debt. You need to make sure you are making smart financial moves and diversifying yourself so all of your eggs aren't in one basket. Just like the Broncos make pretty brilliant choices in building their team through the draft and through free agency, that's exactly what Lear Capital allows you to do as you bring in gold and silver in your stocks and bonds and other portfolios you might have. Lear Capital has over 27 years of trusted experience. They have thousands of 5-star reviews and over $3 billion in trusted transactions. They even offer a 24-hour risk-free purchase guarantee, meaning if you buy something and change your mind within 24 hours, you can get your refund back with no questions asked. So are you prepared? Call Lear Capital today at 855-271-1871, 855-271-1871, and a little bit louder for those in the back, 855-271-1871. or go to trylear.com/sportstalkdenver. Just like the Denver Broncos are planning to win from now on, you need to make a plan for your financial future and success. Don't wait. Take control of your wealth today with Lear Capital. We knew that there was unanimous approval of our throwbacks that we got to wear in the Chiefs game and also in that Raiders game. And now what we are hearing from several plugged-in NFL sources is that there might be a new uniform set being added to each and every rivalry series in the NFL, which would be incredible. Like, you could wear it in your AFC West divisional game. So imagine wearing our throwbacks. This year we are limited to the number of times that we got to wear those. So many Broncos fans were saying, like, that should be our uniform all the time. Like, they absolutely loved it. And that actually might be ringing true. If this were the case, this new rival series of uniform, there are a lot of folks who think that the Broncos throwback uniform might become our rival uniform. And that would be awesome. You just saw the Broncos play different in it. There's something about wearing that logo that takes you back, the nostalgia of that, and it would be incredible. It would still let it be special and different than other things that we'd seen. So let me know, how hyped would you be if this indeed is true? Another amazing piece of news that came down the wire today is that Davis Webb was placed on a 40 under 50 list of, like, basically the NFL's top talent that's rising up the ranks as guys like Andy Reid and Pete Carroll are getting older and older, and Bill Belichick handing down the reins to the next generation. It's awesome to see talent like Davis Webb recognized as one of the best young minds in all of football, and also an incredible sign for us as Broncos fans to know that he is in-house, and knowing that this offseason he had opportunities to go and be offensive coordinators in other places. He didn't accept interviews in other places, and it kind of reminds me of what Ben Johnson did over the past couple seasons as he stayed in Detroit because he wanted to stay and learn from Dan Campbell as long as he could. And so that really is the hope for Davis Webb. We saw him milk every ounce of talent out of Russell Wilson last year, and then this year really take Bo Nix and have him be on target to be a Rookie of the Year type candidate. And I think that's phenomenal. And this year we lost a tight end coach and we lost our passing game coordinator. So I would not be surprised whatsoever if you see Davis Webb named to that new passing game coordinator this year. Perhaps down the line, we get an offensive coordinator bump up for him here in Denver. But the longer we can keep him hitched to the Broncos, I think that is a phenomenal thing. And again, a great advantage of having the richest owner in sports is that there's no salary cap on what you pay ancillary positions like a Davis Webb. So that could be really, really cool. In Sean Payton's interview with Kay Adams, he said, we're better at the wide receiver position than a lot of people think we are. And some of the skeptics in Broncos country said that that might be him doing a smoke signal so that we really are looking at wide receivers, and that takes everyone off the scent, and then he can pounce. Like, actually, oh, you thought I wasn't looking for wide receivers? Look, I am. Well, we are seeing an advanced analytic coming in here that shows that we actually had pretty much the most clutch wide receiver on third down, one of the most clutch wide receivers on third down in Courtland Sutton, and it's amazing to see his name on this list, and knowing that with Devon Vele in the wings, with Troy Franklin having his breakout game in the playoffs when it mattered the most, with a Marvin Mims, truly Sean Payton might not have been bluffing when he said he feels confident about where we are at with our wide receiver position. And then the last awesome piece of good news that we've got to talk about is just the difference that this team has made under Sean Payton when it comes to really injuries over these years. And we've heard it ad nauseum that the best ability in the NFL is availability. And if you have a standout talent, but he's on the bench because of an ACL injury, you are out of luck. And just to be able to see the numbers here is truly the receipt to what Sean Payton has done and the changes that he has brought about. He's changed the culture completely, and then he's also made us healthier. He has made the Broncos healthy again, and that's a phenomenal thing. So taking a look here, this chart by Mike Kliss shows the year. It shows what ranking you were in the NFL when it comes to how injured you were. It shows how much of your salary cap actually was on IR and then what your win and loss was. And so looking at last year, it's basically Alex Singleton's contract here when it comes to how much of our salary cap was on IR, which is phenomenal. That we were the 6th healthiest team in the league. The year before that, we were the 13th healthiest team in the league with only 22. And if you just look at before that, you're talking $67 million of your salary cap on IR, and going back, man, 62. It is very, very hard to win, as we see with the wins and loss record there. So just absolutely phenomenal news there. And we've got a ton to be hopeful in Broncos country. We've got so much salary cap. We don't even know what to do with it. We got salary cap this year and next year and beyond. We've got our franchise quarterback. We got a coach who keeps dudes healthy. And we got one of the best drafters in the game and an amazing draft with offensive talent. So we've got a ton to believe in. Oh, come on.